Hello, friends, and welcome back to r/ProRevenge. Today, we have another set of 4 crazy revenge stories for you. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. Fine, I'll wait. I work for a company that provides B2B services to all kinds of businesses across the United States. A lot of our employees work from home, including me. Well, I'd been with this company for a number of years and eventually rose to the rank of operations manager. My job was to make sure the orders the sales team wrote got fulfilled and also to handle clients whose accounts were past due and customer compliments. I would typically be assigned 3 to 4 different sales managers. Each sales manager was a sales region with 5 to 6 salespeople under them, and all their salespeople would report their issues to me. I was a problem solver, basically, and for 6 years I did my job exceptionally well. Then about 4 years ago, an incompetent, lazy manager got promoted to regional VP. I never did care for this guy. When he was a sales manager and I was assigned to his region, he always had the worst metrics, the biggest issues, his clients were always past due, and he let his salespeople overpromise and underdeliver. I always heard rumors that him and the CEO were good drinking buddies, so I feel maybe that's why he got promoted. Who knows? As a regional VP, one of his first moves was to realign his operation managers. Remember when I said he was incompetent? Well, he reassigned regions, and I ended up with no regions assigned to me. No regions assigned to me meant I had no work to do. No incoming tickets, no calls, no emails. For the first 3 months, I did have work that was left over, but as time went on, that work dwindled. On several occasions, I emailed him advising him that I was an operations manager without any regions assigned to me, which meant soon I'd have nothing to do. He would say, "I know, I'll get you a couple regions, just deal with your current workload." Well, after about 6 months, I called him and expressed my concern that I would soon have resolved all my tickets and would have nothing to do, and he should assign me a region so I can assist. He said, "I know what I'm doing. I got plans for you, stop asking me, and just take care of what you have on your plate now." That conversation was about 3.5 years ago. At that point, I said, "You know what? F it, I'll listen to him. I don't really get paid more if I do more work anyway." So for the past 3.5 years, I have essentially done no work. All at the same time, I get my yearly raises and get excellent remarks on my performance review. It's really easy to do a great job when your job is to do nothing. Keep in mind, because of my seniority, I was earning $105,000 a year. Literally, I would check my email several times every day, I would attend any online mandatory training, I would fill out my timesheets each week. Hell, I even went on vacation. After a while, it became a running joke when my wife and I would plan a vacation, and I told her my request for vacation has been approved, and she would laugh and say, "Think they can live without you?" During this time, I found myself with a ton of extra time, considering I worked from home and had no work to do, so I helped my wife's cleaning business run smoother, and with all that free time, we really built up her business, and now she has several lucrative commercial contracts. I help handle the logistics and operational side of her business. Well, last May, my employer got acquired by another company. Company said they'd be doing full audits of everyone's work and implementing changes. My interview with the new management was in November. They were curious as to why I had completed 0 tasks in 3.5 years, and were surprised to find out it's because I was the only operations manager in the company that wasn't assigned any sales territories, and therefore had 0 workload. I actually got a kick out of it, to be perfectly honest. I did provide them with email proof that I'd been told to wait for assignment by my VP, and I was still waiting. Well, yesterday I was informed that I was being laid off effective the 31st of January and would be given 1 year severance pay as per my employment contract. To say I was pleased was an understatement. I'm not mad or upset. I literally spent the last 3.5 years collecting a paycheck, building up my 401k, and not doing any work for it. Company culture has changed a lot, and it's not like it used to be, so I'm looking forward to moving on. Dealing with customer compliments must have been a pretty great part of the job, though. And our next story. Deal with it or quit. Fine. It'll only cost you more. This happened last summer. I work with a bunch of different doctors to staff a hospital in the city. hospitals, and ER docs. Things were going well, and the hospital was raking in record profits and had completed a major expansion because business was increasing. There was a shakeup in the administration of the hospital, and the new folks decided that they needed to make some changes. In order to increase their margins, they decided to cut the number of doctors per shift. They also decided to save money by cutting support staff, thus greatly increasing our non-medical workload, billing, coding, etc. Oh, by the way, no increase in compensation. Obviously, these changes didn't go over well. With the hospital expanding, the volume of patients was going up, and we needed more docs. It was in fact endangering patients because the onerous workload would give us less time per patient. Despite our protests, the CEO and CFO were having none of it. They fired the chief medical officer and also got rid of the hospitalist and ER directors. The message was clear: put up or shut up. We had a very contentious meeting, and the CEO basically said that if we can't deal with it, we should quit. Immediately, several doctors did quit. Others kept working while looking for new positions. Several of us ended up at rival hospitals right down the road. Initially, the admin kept a brave face as resignations kept coming in. At first, they could manage, but soon we started running into huge staffing issues. They tried quickly hiring new candidates, but people aren't stupid. They knew something was up when they realized so many openings were available. Also, word travels fast in the local medical community. The amount of work they were expecting each doc to do per shift was getting extremely dangerous, making the job less attractive. So winter rolls around, and it's the busiest time of the year for any hospital. They desperately need staffing, but they can't find doctors fast enough. So they have no choice but to hire locum tenens doctors who work on short-term contracts. Unfortunately for them, locums actually cost about double what a permanent doctor does. Even they were hard to come by because of how much the job sucked. In addition, they had to offer up huge sign-on bonuses to new hires in order to get people interested. And finally, we come to the part that gives me the most satisfaction. They were so desperate that they had to come to doctors who'd already quit. We still had our hospital privileges, and we knew the system. We were willing to help, but only for incentive pay, much more than our usual compensation. I'd planned on going on a vacation before starting my new job, but I couldn't pass up the financial windfall of all those incentives. Let's just say it was a very profitable holiday season for me. These cost-saving measures ended up being tremendously expensive for the hospital. Between hiring paying tenens doctors, incentive pay, and recruitment costs, the hospital ended up spending way more than it otherwise would have. The hospital admin has quietly rolled back all of the changes, and now they have in fact increased the number of doctors per shift. Don't shed a tear for the hospital or admin, though. They're still doing tremendously well for themselves. And our next story. You need to keep on top of things. The office work environment is something everyone should experience, just for a short time. People get ridiculous over the most obscure things. Cue this morning. I work in a few departments. One I help out is accounting. I do data entry, mostly invoices. I used to do harder stuff, but the manager of that department is a control freak who doesn't want people knowing the numbers. Well, I missed entering an invoice. It was emailed to me after I left for Christmas vacation. No big deal. Print it off, gather paperwork, double-check the numbers, enter it, everything is good. Get called into the manager's office. Manager is disappointed with my lack of attention to detail. Manager tells me, "I need you to keep on top of things better than this. This kind of negligence costs us money and wastes my time in double-checking." Okay, fair. I did miss it. But the conversation got very condescending after a few minutes. Remarks about my performance, questions about if I feel like a capable member of the team, suggestions that if I thought accounting was just too hard that I could be moved to something more attuned to my skill level. Me. So you want me to follow up with every invoice I receive? Manager. Absolutely. That's your responsibility for entering these documents. Okay. Go back to my email and find about 6 months worth of invoices. I double-checked that they're all entered, and I'd only missed that one. Then I noticed a lot of the invoices were still sitting as unpaid in the system. Odd. Confirmed that over 25 invoices were sitting unpaid in our accounting software that were well past due. Print off a copy of each, go back to the manager's office in the afternoon. CEO is sitting with manager. Me. Oh, sorry, I'll come back later. Manager. No, it's fine. Are those invoices? Me. Yes, I just need to talk to you. Manager rolls eyes. Did you find more that you missed? I was just telling CEO that we need you to be more on top of this to keep working for this department. What's wrong with these ones? Me. I found a bunch of unpaid ones that I entered a while ago. I want to make sure I'm entering them properly. Manager. Unpaid? What do you mean unpaid? Me. I looked up every invoice I was sent over the past 6 months, and I only missed one, but the rest come up as still unpaid in the system. CEO. Can I see those? How far back are they from? Me. Late 2018, sir. CEO. I'll take a look at these. Thank you, Neg. Turns out manager had been neglecting in keeping certain accounts up to date, and the CEO had just been talking to her about some of the accounts last week and was assured everything was fine. I gotta say, this is a huge problem pretty much everywhere. That is, a-hole boss/manager pissing on good employees but doesn't do her or his own job properly. And our next story. $6 extra in airport parking a problem? Okay. I'll be sure not to do that again. Early 2000s, I was working as the only salesperson in an 800-person data company. The company was always pretty cheap about things. The founder and CEO's theory was that if clients visited us and saw a bunch of lavish offices, they would think we were wasteful with the money they spent with us. I was out of town on a few business trips a few times a month, and I tried to make a habit of doing day trips when I could. I figured I'd save the company money and limit my time away from the office. On one particular trip, I was late getting to the airport and parked in short-term parking. The net effect of short-term parking for 9 hours versus extended parking was a $6 difference. When I turned in my expense report, the head of accounting denied the parking expense and sent me a passive-aggressive email citing the company travel policy from the employee handbook. I accepted the adjustment and resubmitted. A few days later, I ran into her in the cafe and tried to apologize for not knowing our policy and explained that I always try to minimize expenses by taking day trips instead of overnight stays, etc. Her response? Rules are rules. Why do you think you're so special? What if everyone thought like you and tried to skate by on breaking the rules? So, from then on, for 6 more years, every business trip I booked was an overnighter. Early AM flight the day before the meeting, late afternoon flight out the day after the meeting. Per diem for meals for 3 days, hotel stay, and 3 full days of extended parking rate. Expensed every dime of it, and never had an expense report questioned or denied. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video to the end, and I'll see you in the next one.